pleasure now to welcome in the man who will call the game for ESPN tomorrow. Dave Pasch is back in Provo, Utah. Dave, welcome back to BYU Sports Nation.
Hey, guys, I have to say this is the most professional-looking Zoom that I've ever been on. I know that you guys were going to get dressed up for this and you had all the bells and whistles. I would have probably not had the sweatshirt. I wouldn't have had. I probably would have gone shirt and tie.
We wish we were in that attire. Trust me. Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Dave, we should probably compliment you on being the most patient broadcaster in the business, given on who you have to work with and put up with. So compliments to you for being super patient as you work your way through the broadcast biz.
I get that a lot. I do. I appreciate it. I get it a lot. I've learned this is assuming that we make it to basketball season. This will be year 11 with Bill Walton. We did do a handful of NBA games my first year, which was 16 years ago, although he claims still to this day that never happened.
Of course. We meant Dusty, but yeah, that's cool about Bill too.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. This is an interesting matchup because a few weeks ago we were like, hey, is this going to be a top 15 matchup? Nope. Two teams reeling a bit. Obviously, Arkansas has played a tough schedule, Dave. BYU hasn't played that great the last 5 weeks, but is still 4-2 out of the polls after the loss to Notre Dame. So what do you think of this matchup that perhaps is a little different than what we thought a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, it feels like must win, but for a different reason than you mentioned, because you've got both teams going in the wrong direction. Arkansas was 10th in the country, had a tough loss against A&M, have not been able to bounce back. And part of that is they didn't have their quarterback last week. And last year, something similar happened, and they finished strong and had 9 wins. You know, for them to fall to 3-4, if they lose this game, now, you know, the luster's off Sam Pittman and, you know, even what happened last year, I'm sure. And then on the BYU side, you know, 12th in the country a few weeks ago, 16th last week, and then, you know, lose to Notre Dame and you drop, you know, 10 spots, maybe more, depending on how you look at it. But I was a little surprised they slipped all the way out of the top 25. And, you know, the fact that I think people thought around, you know, 2 weeks ago that BYU was probably a top 15 team. And the fact the voters, even though I don't know that the polls really matter that much, we're getting closer to finally getting a college football playoff top 25. I would think BYU would be in that top 25 if they voted today. But clearly the writers and the coaches feel right now they should not be ranked because that was a precipitous drop despite only an 8-point loss.
Dave Pasch is on BYU Sports Nation. When you look at the personnel in this matchup, hard not to pay attention to the opposing quarterbacks, Jaron Hall and KJ Jefferson. What do you think about the quarterback matchup that you're going to witness at LaVell Edwards Stadium on Saturday?
I think it's really good. You get two guys that clearly have not turned the ball over very often at all this year. And I think KJ Jefferson's really talented. I think Jaron Hall is really talented. I hope both guys are 100%. It sounds like both guys are going to play. You know, we have not met with Kalani yet, but when we sit down with him, I want to ask him to clarify his comment early this week when he said, Jaron's going to have to go. You know, that can be viewed a couple different ways. Does that mean he's not 100%, but we need him to go? Or, you know, was he just saying that? Was it out of context? Who knows? But hopefully Jaron's healthy because clearly against Notre Dame, you could tell he wasn't. And then KJ Jefferson, I mean, he's their offense. And, you know, they want him to trust some of the guys around him more. And I think that's an area that he's got to grow. But clearly both guys have had great seasons so far.
And it's interesting because Arkansas obviously wants to run the rock. 233 a game is a really good number, one of the best in the country. And then BYU certainly you'd think could take advantage of a depleted and injured secondary that's giving up, well, as a team, 32 a game, and then 10th worst in yards allowed total. Granted, tough schedule again for A&M, but it feels like a BYU pass game versus an Arkansas rush game. Do you see it the same way, or is it more than that?
I don't know. It's hard to say. You got two banged up secondaries, so it is hard to say. I think if I'm BYU, I'm probably taking shots down the field. I'm probably going at that secondary. I think Arkansas. I mean, KJ Jefferson is a dual threat, and I think he's probably an underrated passer. I mean, I could see them trying to throw the ball down the field too. I could see this being a high-scoring game. I could. And they're obviously very good running the football. and you look at KJ Jefferson's numbers, they're not gaudy, but he does throw for 220. I mean, it's not like he's throwing for 150 a game. And, you know, they've got Raheem Sanders, who is one of the top backs in the country statistically right now. I think Jaden Hazelwood is a guy to watch in this game. He hasn't been 100%, transfer from Oklahoma. He's a guy who can make some big plays. And I think at some point Arkansas is going to need some big plays through the air to win this game.
Dave, BYU has won 18 of the last 19 games at home in LaVell Edwards Stadium. I'm sure that has BYU fans hopeful that after the Notre Dame loss, they can come back and bounce back against a very good Arkansas team. You travel all over the country and visit, you know, the top of top college football stadiums. When you look at LaVell Edwards Stadium, what type of home field advantage is there in Provo compared to some of the other big-time places you've been?
First of all, we did the game last year that y'all lost, so against Boise State. But we also did the game 2 years ago against USC. So we brought good luck and bad luck. We always like coming here. It's a beautiful area, and the stadium, it's just it's as good as it gets for me in college football in terms of just how beautiful the city is, the mountains are, the setting, you know, the fact it's a mid-afternoon game, 3:30 Eastern, 1:30 local. That's each of the last 2 times we've been here, it was that same time. It's just a great time of the day for college football in general, especially here. I just in terms of the fan base and how involved they are, how much they care. It did take us, I think, an hour and a half to get out of the parking lot last year after the game, which tells you the fans stayed till the end. And that was not a good day last year for BYU. But fans are great here. It's a great place for college football. It really is.
What's your sense of BYU right now? You mentioned the precipitous drop out of the top 25, but BYU fans not feeling great about the direction BYU's going. SEC team in Provo, rarity, just the second team ever to come into Provo. Mississippi State the other a couple times. And then at Liberty, sneaky. Got at Boise State, at Stanford, still on deck in the back 6 here. What's your sense of what the Cougars are right now, where they're headed?
Yeah, I mean, 2 straight 10-win seasons, and then you're looking at 4-2. And I think this is a game that sends you in one direction or the other. If you win this game, you're probably headed to, 8-9 wins. If you lose this game, I mean, maybe more than 8-9 wins. If you lose this game, yeah, I mean, the schedule is not easy. I still think they're good enough, even if they don't win this game, to win 8, maybe 9. I think, the injuries clearly have been a big issue for BYU. I don't know if they beat Oregon, but I think maybe, if everybody's 100% last week, I think there's a chance that there's a different outcome, or at least they play Notre Dame better, and maybe you feel a little bit better about BYU after that game. I'm not ready to say yet that BYU is still not going to have a great year, but I think this is the type of game that can, like I mentioned, can kind of send you in one direction or the other depending on how it goes.
Dave, as you look at position battles within this game, which one has your attention the most between BYU and Arkansas?
Well, I think it's BYU. Probably, their linebacker stopping Rocket Sanders, a running back. He's 700 rushing yards. He leads the SEC. He's already got more rushing yards than he had all of last year. He's a big back at 6'2", 230. They will throw it to him as well. He's averaging a couple catches a game. So that's the guy. I think if BYU can stop him, so Peely and Bywater and Tooley and Wilgar. I mean, those guys. I mean, obviously, you'd love your defensive lineman to make those tackles, but assuming that you're going to have a good D line against a good O line, there's going to be opportunities. Those linebackers have got to make some plays. Because if he gets to the second level and they're getting chunk plays on the ground, it could be a long day.
Do you like donuts, Dave? Because they're busting out a chocolate cougar tail tomorrow, which is unique and special. Just second time ever.
Make sure you send some of those up to the booth.
We got
please.
You. We got you.
I was excited just to see the helmets and the uniforms tomorrow. Now that you've mentioned something that's a little bit more tangible for me in terms of my tongue and my palate, make sure one of those bad boys is sent up to the booth, please.
All right,
you got it.
We're working on it right now,
Yeah.
Dave. Hey, we appreciate you hanging out with us on a Friday morning. Look forward to your call on ESPN tomorrow with Dusty Dvorak. And let's do it again soon.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me on. Talk to you later.
You got it. Play-by-play.